reflejo. Sí. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to our second webinar for G21. So here we are with your two account executives. We have Jaime and we have César. And we were supposed to be with Alejandra as well, but unfortunately Alejandra is in sick leave because she had an accident. This is the reason why probably she has not been answering your emails. However, our operations director, Luis Rebolledo, will be taking on her portfolio for the next month. So for now, César and Jaime will answer all questions that you might have at this point. Please keep in mind that these questions should be in general terms. So if you have very, very specific questions, you can still direct them via email. Otherwise, you're free to make all the questions that you have, especially if they're going to add value to the whole group. So I'm going to go off camera because I'm going to start reading the questions and leave Jaime and César to present themselves.
Hello, my name is Jaime. I am account executive from State of Chile.
As Trini said, my name is César Jiménez. I'm also an account executive here in State of Chile, and we are eager to answer your questions.
Okay, so we don't have any incoming questions. So we don't have any incoming questions just yet. So we're just going to go through some basics. At this point in time, you must all, at least all those of you who need visas should have already approached the consulate or should be waiting to be called from the consulate. If you haven't heard yet, don't worry, we still have plenty of time. I'm telling everyone to wait until the 20th of January. If you have not heard back from the consulate by 20th of January, please send me an email and I will do the internal follow-up, okay? So that's in regards to visas. If you want to give some general tips as to terms and conditions.
I think one of the most important things to tell you in this instance is, first of all, don't worry. We'll be having a mandatory financial workshop at the very first days since your arrival to the program. So there we'll be giving extensively and profusely all the information needed for you about how to submit your expenses, about how to get the grant. So first of all, we know that you have a lot of questions and a lot of doubts right now, but my first advice is don't worry. Don't worry, because all the information needed will be given to you. You can come to us via email with questions after you got our confirmations. So you can do it. So first of all, don't worry, because we'll be having instances to answer all of your questions. Another piece of advice.
Yes, I just wanted to share with you guys that on the 15th of January, you will be receiving step 5. In step 5, you will receive a document called Lookout Landing Weeks, which will have all the specifics of what's going to happen during the first 3 to 4 weeks of the program. This will include information on the technical workshops that César is talking about, and also the financial workshops. These workshops are very thorough and detailed workshops where you will understand how to make all this very detailed process. So do not worry yet. However, if people want to start working on their budgets, for example, they can, right?
Yeah.
If they wanted to. So we have Stefan online and we have Doug online. Hi guys, welcome to our webinar. Please if you have any questions, please shoot. We're here to answer anything that might come up now.
Podríamos explicar lo de los gastos previos, y eso no se ha dado. Como el tema de landing, no se pueden aprobar la...
Okay, so as we don't have any questions just yet, we'll be giving some general tips and pieces of advice for you to get. You can start thinking right now about how you want to spend this the grant, the subsidy. You can start doing your initial plans, and you can consider these initial expenses that maybe some of you are already considering. For example, the plane tickets to come here to Chile, your temporary accommodation here in Chile, and your visa expenses, and some other processes that you may need to do before you come to Chile.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that. We're having some internet connection problems. So we're going to continue on.
Yeah.
So what evidence is required to be reimbursed by the costs associated with visas and tickets?
Very good question. And for now, we recommend you to keep everything, every document. But in the financial process to be presented during the program, you will have to present to us the invoice or the itinerary of your plane ticket. Also, you have to present all of the proof of payment. So, for example, if you paid your ticket with your own credit card, you will need to present the credit card statement where that plane ticket is included. And also, you will need to present the payment of the fee of that credit card for the same value or a value higher. Okay? And you have to present, for example, depending on how did you pay that credit card. So, for example, if you paid your credit card with your own debit card, you'll need to present both your credit card statement and your debit card statement. If you pay with cash or any other method, you need to present the receipts that you made that payment. So for now, you'll need to keep that. Also, afterwards, not this initial flight, you'll need to keep all of the boarding passes. Okay, only for the initial and the final flight. These are the only ones that will not be asking you for those boarding passes. It doesn't make any harm to present them. So if you want to organize everything and keep all the documents like together, you can present those boarding passes also. But the mandatory ones will be for the business flights during the program.
Okay, thanks for that. We have an incoming question from Esteban in regards to her daughter. Esteban, if you can please provide more information as to the problem that you're having. If it's a very specific problem, then I suggest that you email me directly and we can personally see into that, okay? So we have Mateo. We need the physical invoices or can it be in digital form?
Okay, if you have the invoices in digital form, you will also need to print them and present them. In the financial process, in the financial meeting, we'll need all of these documents in paper, unfortunately. So for now, you can keep them digital, but at the moment that you will be actually presenting your expenses to the program, to one of us, we'll need you to print those invoices. But for now, you can keep them digital.
Okay.
No problem.
So there are no more incoming. So So we don't need the original invoice. Can we present a printed copy?
No. No, never copies. In digital invoices, it won't be a copy because there's not an original document. But for all expenses, you need to present always original documents. If the document is in paper, we need exactly that document, that invoice. Okay? And if it's digital, obviously all prints that you make are going to be a copy. So in those cases can be accepted. But as formal documents, never copies, always original.
Okay. So Federico, Chilean consulate is not giving us any information. They told us that they will take at least 30 days. Okay, so again, usually the consulates will always give you the worst case scenario. This does not mean that it will actually take 30 days. In our previous experience, they've always been able to fulfill the deadlines that we've given them, so don't worry. However, if by the 20th of January you have not heard back from the consulate, do get in touch with me and we will do the internal follow-up. Okay, so don't worry. It has not happened before that the consulates don't give the visas in time. So no more questions at the moment. No problem. What we can tell you a little bit more about the co-work spaces. If you go into Saperstep Line, there is at the top part of the website, you will find a link called More. And if you browse there, you will see the co-works that we're working with. They're very nice spaces. This is so that you start getting a feel of what your experience here will be like. So Ariel has 2 questions. Okay, Ariel? We are reading. So go ahead. So there's a little bit of a delay. So we can also, just to fill in some space here, be prepared during the first week, your landing week, to get all your papers sorted out. It's going to be a very intense week, but it will also be fun. So during your first days here, you will be going to the PDI to register your visa. You will be opening your bank account, and you will also be getting your Chilean DNA number. Okay. Okay. So more questions. Is it mandatory for all team members to be at every activity of the program?
No. The only mandatory presence is going to be for the team leader. Team members can participate, but there's no obligation for them to be there.
Okay. Graham asks, if you for salary compensation instead of housing, can we still rent an Airbnb ourselves, as this would not be an expense that will have to be brought in?
Okay, very good question. First of all, we do not, for the expenses that will be presented to the program, if you're choosing to present housing, which is not your case for what you tell us there, never use Airbnb, at least here in Chile, because Airbnb won't be providing an invoice for you to present afterwards to the program, so we don't recommend that option, okay? Regarding your question, if you choose to present salary, you can take the housing any way you want. So if you don't want to present that expense, you can use Airbnb. It's completely up to you. I don't know what it's
What you do with your as a salary is your own personal deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we allowed to use the Bellavista cowork and the Providencia cowork? Yes, you're allowed to use both coworks. And for each cowork, you're allowed to bring up to 5 persons per team. So yes, both coworks. Do you have any sample budgets that you can provide to show past budgets that have been accepted or work well?
Well, when we'll be asking you to fill those budgets, we'll be giving you some instructions about how to do it properly. I don't think we can provide like previous budgets of other projects. But what we can do is that the budget is going to be worked and it's going to be like made between you and us. So we'll be giving you advice and we'll be giving you all the tools that you need to have a very good budget. So don't worry about that.
Perfect. A question in regards to the 10% of the funding cash during the program. When exactly, when exactly do we need to give the money and how is the tributary model for this transaction?
Okay. So you don't have to worry about that because you don't have to like actually present the 10% exactly that you will be like supporting to the program. The only thing is that you have to present a 10% higher of expenses of the total that we'll be giving to you, and from that expenses we'll be taking this 10% and assign it like arbitrarily to your support to the program. Okay, so you don't have to actually like take this 10% and, for example, pay something special with it. No, we'll all be taking the 10% of your total expenses. So really don't worry about that. Also, that 10% is not necessarily in cash. Okay, the only thing is that it has to be like your support, but we won't be asking you, for example, to actually be something that you paid in cash. It can be something that you paid with your credit card, with your debit card. That is completely up to you. The only thing that matters to us is that you present the total of the, well, depending on the way that you will be receiving the subsidy, that you present the total of the subsidy plus this 10% of your support. Okay.
And can we start now of development time, etc.?
Okay. No, that's not the idea. The idea that is that you start doing these temporary expenses that we told you, like previous expenses, considering, for example, your plane ticket, your temporary accommodation, your visa process, all of that. But all of the project-related expenses, we can't approve them right now. And the idea is that you start those after the real start of the program, after your arrival. So the idea is that you don't start doing these expenses right now.
Okay. Also, for taxation matters, here in Belgium, we were wondering what the legal status of the salary is. Is it an actual salary or, for instance, a living compensation?
Okay, so we don't mix like international taxes, okay? So in Chile, what we'll be doing is that if you want to claim a salary, if you want to claim salary, you will have to incorporate here in Chile, okay? You'll have to form a company, you'll have to have that company approved by Corfo, and after that, you can start submitting salary. So it's always going to be a legal salary, not a compensation or any other thing. It's a salary. And we'll be explaining, obviously, how the tax regulations here in Chile apply to that salary, okay? But after you arrive to the program.
Okay, so the is asking, if his headquarters will pay for his rent, would that be considered an additional 10%?
You mean headquarters as your company from your own country? That's not possible to approve because all the expenses must be made under the team leader's name or the team member's name, and afterwards, after that you have your company approved by Corfo, then you can provide expenses made by a Chilean company. Okay, no companies from abroad will be reimbursed, not expense.
Okay, Federico wants to know if he's renting a room in Santiago, but the person renting the place may not be able to do a contract for him. Any idea how much?
Also, you will be sub-renting.
Like sub-rent.
Yeah.
Tiene que, el contrato inicial tiene que permitir el subarriendo.
Yeah, that's the first thing. The initial contract of the landlord to sorry, to the I don't remember the word, but the person who pays the actual rent, this initial contract must state clearly that it's possible to sub-rent the property. If this initial contract doesn't say that, we won't be able to approve your expense. And even if it approves it, you will also have to present a contract that gives us the information that they are actually renting this property together with someone else or sub-renting, but we always need a contract. If you don't have a contract, unfortunately, you won't be able to present that housing expense.
In that sense, you have to consider that as we are a governmental entity, everything that we process has to be lawful, has to be evidence that is within the law that allows it. Okay? So we have another question. Does the visa allow the team members to receive salaries as hired personnel? Yes, Felix. Actually, if your team members are coming with a visa that we've helped you process, it means that they will be able to legally work here. However, they do have to do a special. They have to be inscribirse en Servicio de Impuestos Internos.
Yeah.
So, if you want to add a little bit to that.
No, you summarize it very well.
Bran is asking. Yes, Bran, we're planning on incorporating, so it's a legal salary. Thanks. Okay, Dimitri, I'm not asking about reimbursements. I mean that the program demands to invest 10% more in addition to the grant. Por tanto, if my company pays for my living in Chile, and we don't need to.
Okay, as I told you, even if if you want it to be your 10% or you want to charge it to the grant, you can't present expenses made for your own company from your own country. Okay, for now, as no company has been approved, the only people able to present expenses are the team members and the team leaders, no one else. Okay, now regarding the 10%, as I told you, it doesn't even consider as an investment of you. You only have to you have to have this money and you have to like present the expenses. But we won't be like tracking exactly about if you used exactly your own money. The only thing is that this is like an expense logic to present this. So for example, if the grant was 10 million, will be in the financial meeting will be need the information of this 10 million plus the 10% of that to be presented as total number of expenses. Okay, you don't have to separate them. You just have to present the amount of the grant plus the 10% as expenses.
Okay. So Doug wants to know how quickly can we commence the registration of the Chilean company. I'm assuming we have to wait until we start in February, but could we submit the application and pay the fees on the first day?
Okay, to Corfo be able to actually approve the company, you will have to wait first of the total formalization of your contract. Okay, so you will be like getting the chance to do this, I think, a month after your arrival. After the total formalization of your contract, then you can present the documents needed to your own account executive, and then we ask Corfo for the approval. Okay, but this is only possible after the total formalization of the contract.
Okay. How long will it take to receive salary when incorporating your?
It depends when you get the approval of Corfo. Once you present the document, the process usually takes like a week or two tops. So you can consider the first month, but you have this a very specific question, so you have to like talk this situation with your own account executive.
Dimitri, as reimburse that money, will they consider to be as those additional that you should invest?
Reimburse that money will. Okay, Dimitri, you're like, as I told you, don't worry. The only thing that you have to know is that the 10% of the grant, you have to have that money to be possible for you to make expenses, okay? Nothing else. Don't worry about nothing else for now. You need to just have that money and then do expenses with it. but we won't be tracking exactly that. It's not investment. Remember, it's an expense logic based. Okay.
Okay. So RBA wants to know refundable salaries up to 1 million per team member per month. Is this brutto or líquido? Are there additional legal compensations included? Would that mean that sueldo bruto would be 1.3 million? No.
1 million.
Yes, it's 1 million bruto.
Bruto.
Yes.
Bruto. This means that you do have to deduct your
Taxes
Taxes.
and obligations.
10%, for example.
so it's what, 850,000. Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you,
Okay.
César. Okay, no more incoming questions at the moment. And see, the questions were divided into two parts. That's what we understand. Okay, sorry, Dimitri. Okay, so yes, as César says, it's fair that you answer that directly to you via email. Anything else that you want to know about? So we really want to encourage you to also use our informal and unofficial channels of communication. So reach out to your Facebook groups, reach out to the WhatsApp groups. There are some people in the WhatsApp group that were participants in the TSF, so they know how the program works, they know how to do the basics. So they will be very helpful as well if you have any other questions. It's also people that live here, so can also give you tips on accommodation and housing and where the best places to live are, etc. Federico, is there any chance to be introduced with people from big retailers in Chile?
Yes, we have very good connections. We have a monthly form of connections that we'll offer to you about a lot of industries and different enterprises here in Chile. So yes, you will get the possibility to do those connections.
Okay. Federico, I believe our service be adopted by Camarillas and Brazilians. Can you introduce us to them?
I think they are part of the network of connections, so it's possible that we can do that connection for you.
Do consider, Federico, that the connections are made as long as we consider that your startup is in a stage that will benefit from this connection, because otherwise what ends up happening is that you kill the opportunity with certain big corporations. So this is a conversation that you will, of course, have with our corporate network executive when the time comes. Okay. So, Bram, if for any reason we decide to liquidate the Chilean corporation in the future, are there significant costs related to this?
It depends in the way that you start your company, but there's a lot of legal issues, and you would have to think about that very well with your own accountant or the accountant that you hire after when you arrive here in Chile. So that's up to you, because we have very different types of enterprises, we have very different types of regulations, so we can't provide an exact answer to that. There will be some costs, yes, but if they are high or not, I really don't know.
Okay, thank you, César. So no more incoming questions at the moment. Okay, guys. So we're just going to give it a few minutes. If there are no more questions, we're going to start wrapping up. So again, we want to strongly encourage you to read through terms and conditions, read through all the material that we've been sending you and all the steps. Reach out to the community if you have questions. The community are the best people to answer them as they are in your position, so they know exactly how it works. Especially foreigners that have stayed here, alumni that have stayed here, so they can be the best source of information for you. And of course, don't if you have very specific questions, don't be scared to reach out to us. You have the admissions email, you have your account executives emails. Do consider that we do this process 4 times a year, so you will have a very, very good induction week where we will explain everything thoroughly. You will have a lot of workshops, so you won't be left alone. We're here for you. We're working hard for you. Your landing week, your orientation week is going to be a fun week. So be prepared to meet all of your peer suppers and to do some fun and exciting activities. We have the icebreaker that Friday, so that will be fun as well. So yeah, we're super excited to have you here in a couple of weeks. Thanks Federico, thanks Ariel, thanks Brian. And we're also very excited and looking forward to meeting you. Okay? So awesome. I think we can go offline then. No more questions. Perfect. Okay, guys. So it was great having you. Thanks for being here in our webinar and see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.